Hello Cowboy Nation. Let's go to another round of Dallas Cowboys news. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like so you don't miss any news from your team. Micah Parsons on former players waiting for current players to fail. The Cowboys have long been anointed as America's team, causing many former players to delight when the five-time Super Bowl winner franchise battles. Dallas, 10-4, despite owning one of the best records in the NFL this season, has received a lot of criticism due to a disappointing 3-4 record on the road. In Week 15, those road problems were again on display as Buffalo dismantled the NFC East powerhouse 31-10. On the edge with Micah Parsons, the Cowboys' defensive leader spoke with several TV analysts seemingly rooting for his team to fail. "Everybody just hopes the Cowboys lose," Parsons said. "I've seen a lot of analysts, people who are fake analysts who somehow got TV jobs saying, 'There goes your boy. This is the person we were waiting for.' It's almost to the point of being almost sick." Parsons, who ranks 8th in the NFL in sacks, 12.5, this season, went on to criticize former players who go on TV and essentially root against current athletes to provide them with hot takes on national media outlets. "Former players are waiting for other current players to fail so they can have something to talk about," Parsons added. "It's not just going into names. I mean, I feel like at this point, you kind of know who you are. And it's like, why do you want someone to lose so bad? It seems like a lot of people are just waiting for them to fail." Among the latest former NFL stars to openly criticize the Cowboys was Rob Gronkowski, who called the Cowboys soft and not mentally tough after the club's big loss to the Bills. In addition to the four-time Super Bowl champion, former San Francisco quarterback Dante Whitner publicly attacked the inconsistent Super Bowl contenders after the 49ers' 42-10 win over Dallas in Week 5. Eagles' loss on Monday night keeps Cowboys alive in NFC East title race. Hope is very much alive for the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys lost on Sunday and that was, and continues to be, very frustrating. But things change quickly in the NFL and on Monday night hope was renewed. "We should all send Christmas presents to the Seattle Seahawks, Drew Lock and Jackson Smith-Njigba, Dallas native, for taking down the bad guys and keeping things under control in the NFC East." The Seattle Seahawks did it. Many of us, understandably, spent Monday believing the Eagles would win in Seattle and effectively wrap up the NFC East. This will not happen. As was the case last week, the Eagles still control their own destiny regarding the division. If they win, the NFC East will likely belong to them. But if the Eagles make a mistake and the Cowboys win, obviously it will go to Dallas. And what's most important is that because Dallas beat Seattle, they didn't lose any kind of rhythm with Philly after their loss to Buffalo, which the Eagles won. Additionally, the Cowboys and Eagles are tied now with 3 conference losses each. Although the Eagles are still in control, this was a seismic moment in the division race in regards to the tiebreaker break. Basically, consider that this Seahawks loss to the Eagles now makes up for Dallas' loss to Arizona earlier in the season as far as the tiebreaker goes, even if Philadelphia beats them in Week 17. The Eagles' loss to the Seahawks is the hardest to swallow yet. It's one thing if you get beaten by the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys in consecutive weeks by a combined score of 75-32. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, Monday night's loss to the Seattle Seahawks, their 3rd in a row and 4th of the season, might be the hardest to swallow. Let's start with the micro. The Seahawks had lost 4 straight heading into Monday night's game, and there seemed to be a legitimate question about an hour before the game about who they would start at quarterback. Geno Smith may not be a superstar, but he is definitely one of the 32 best defenders in the league. But while Smith was active during the game, the Seahawks kept him out as he continued to battle a groin injury. Instead, Drew Lock got his 2nd straight match. The former second-round pick, acquired from the Denver Broncos in the March 2022 Russell Wilson trade, has always looked likable. The viral video of him rapping along to Jeezy and Kanye West's classic hit put on during his 2019 debut season is regularly circulating on social media. He appeared emotional in his post-game interview on ESPN. It's easy to root for Lock, but there's very little evidence that he's a starting-level quarterback at the NFL level. In fact, before Locke threw the touchdown pass to rookie Jackson Smith-Njigba, the quarterback threw at least 3 passes on what turned out to be the game-winning throw that very well could have been intercepted. One of them can be attributed to the individual greatness of Seattle receiver DK Metcalf, who torched the Eagles on the final drive after being silent for much of the night. But when you have 3 chances to record a game-sealing interception on the final play of the game and don't convert on any of them, you deserve to lose. The reality is that as much of a problem as the Eagles' secondary has become, especially now without cornerback Darius Slay, no one would have bet on Locke leading a 92-yard touchdown drive to win the game. But because of the Eagles' missed opportunities to take him out, that's exactly what happened. From a macro standpoint, the Eagles failed to capitalize on the chance to gain ground on the Dallas Cowboys, who fell to 10-4 after being throttled by the Buffalo Bills on Sunday afternoon. The Eagles will be heavy favorites in each of the remaining 3 games, 2 matchups against the 5-9 New York Giants sandwiched around a date with coach Jonathan Gannon's 3-11 Arizona Cardinals. When you compare that to the 3 remaining matchups on the Cowboys slate, the Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions, and Washington Commanders, the Eagles should still win the NFC East. But perhaps it can't be taken for granted that quarterback Jalen Hurts and the Eagles will win all 3 of their final games easily, even if they should. Hurts has become a turnover machine under first-year offensive coordinator Brian Johnson, who seems too reliant on uncreative screen passes, quarterback draws and receiver A.J. Brown dropping 50-50 balls. Coach Nick Sirianni's team isn't mathematically eliminated from contention for first place in the NFC, but it's looking increasingly unlikely that the Eagles will have a first-round bye and home field advantage during the postseason. The 49ers are 11-3, essentially giving them a 2-game lead for first place in the NFC over the Eagles because they own the tiebreaker by virtue of a head-to-head win. To make matters worse, the winner of the NFC East isn't even sure of being the number 2 seed given the Detroit Lions are 10-4. The guess here is that the Eagles will win their final 3 games and finish the season with a 13-4 record. Even if that happens, it looks like a team with a ceiling. The Eagles will likely win a wild-card game. They can win in the divisional round. This version of the Eagles, however, will not return to the Super Bowl for the 2nd year in a row, much less win it, especially considering that 3 consecutive losses have made their path through the NFC that much more difficult. Here's how the number 1 Cowboys can beat the NFC East over Eagles by Mike Fisher. News, analysis, and more from Dallas Cowboys Fanation, updated December 19, 2023 at 1:20 a.m. Frisco. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised, considering how the Philadelphia Eagles are skidding. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys lost a game in a row, and in ugly fashion on Sunday in Buffalo in a 33-10 victory. But the Eagles have also struggled in recent weeks, and on Monday Night Football just struggled again in a 20-17 loss at Seattle, which marks the 3rd straight loss for the defending NFC champions. Dallas would win the division and move up to 2nd place in the NFC playoffs. So, yes, as dark as Sunday was in Buffalo, there is midnight light in Frisco. What did you think of this news? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any news from your Dallas Cowboys. Thanks.